I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Dirk. Primbs, how are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing remarkably well. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, my friend. It's been an amazing evening, and you're my final conversation for this leg of the marathon. So thanks for asking that as well. What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Mountain View in beautiful California.
Oh, sweet.
But originally I'm from Germany, so I'm a little bit jet lagged right now.
Oh, yeah, because I was thinking you were in my future. I mean, you are in my future because you're west of me. So what time is it there right now?
It's, I think, 7.
Wow.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, so it's
7
11:05 p.m. here. So yeah, you're definitely in my future. It's a great pleasure again to connect with you. Please do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
I have a knack of over-communicating a little bit, so I think the talent of communication definitely played a role.
Yeah. Tell me more about your over-communicating and how that works.
Well, I like to connect with people. I like to talk about experiences, and that brought me to podcasting. That brought me to public speaking. That brought me to leading teams, and all of this is essentially at the core being able to communicate. And through that, you probably found me and invited me over.
Yeah, I think it was the podcasting. So is it that you run a podcast?
I think of myself a little bit like a podcast activist and enthusiast. So I run podcasts. I have a couple of podcast-related portals. I'm an active member of the podcasting community in Germany and to some podcasters in the States as well. So doing a ton of things.
What's the name of your podcast?
The English one is called To Debate. It's a debating podcast where I debate motions and we randomly select sides and then debate in 3 quick rounds the motion.
Yeah, that was fun. Like I listened to that today. So it was you debating Star Wars, right? Star Wars. What was it, boy? Star Wars against... Was it Star Trek?
No, the motion was Star Wars is overrated.
Right.
And Sebastian, my co-host, had to defend that it's overrated, and I was against that.
Yeah.
So
he creamed you.
3 rounds.
He creamed you.
No, he did.
Yeah, that was definitely great. Yeah. Oh, amazing stuff. Yeah. What happens is I'm listening to so many podcasts in preparation that I just cue off the conversations. So it's challenging to remember which is connected to whom. But I got to listen to that today. That was fun. Great stuff. But again, he creamed you.
What did you like about it?
I loved the fact that you guys were being yourselves. I love the fact that what intrigued me the most is how someone can have an argument, if you would, and you can believe them. And I didn't think that it could just be them acting and not really believing it as well.
That is also, it's actually impossible. So we make our arguments in a way that it's consistent with what we believe and what we think. So we have arguments where we sometimes struggle to find the right angle, but the podcast is an exercise in recognizing the other side's arguments, if you will. And most of the time, people are rational. It's not black-white issues. You need to look for the grayscale, and then you can make arguments, intelligent arguments, most of the time for both sides.
Yeah, which was fun. So who did you learn that skill from?
Well, practice, I guess, and the people around me. So the more you put yourself out there and communicate, as you, for instance, do with your podcast as well, the more opportunity you get to grow that particular skill.
Yeah.
And especially when you try to get good at public speaking, or if you try to really get to the core of leading teams. This is a lot of opportunity to practice, and you get a lot of coaches. Being a parent also helps.
Yeah,
Children
that
are
helps.
amazing communication coaches.
Yeah, children definitely helps like a ton. I have one friend that says, "Hey, if you have one child, don't tell me about having two children. Like, don't coach me on having two children. And if you have two children, don't coach me on having three children, because you could never be prepared for what it feels like or what is the experience of having that many children." It's like, okay, all right, I say no more. So
Do you
you've been
have?
doing. Sure, yeah, I do. I actually have two children. So I don't coach him. He has three children. Yeah, I have two boys. 7-year-old that is going to be 8 in a couple of days, and a 3-year-old. What about you?
Oh, very cool. I have 3 boys, 12, 14, and 16-year-olds.
Yeah, so I wouldn't coach you on having 3 children.
I also think 3 children are enough.
Yeah,
Plenty.
yeah, most definitely. So you've been doing this, my friend Dirk, for a couple of years, it seems like. What's the biggest team you've led?
That's the team I lead right now. I have a team of 20 people, and it's a globally distributed team. So if you're not co-located and people are around the globe, in my case, then trying to be a good communicator is all the more important, because every mistake, every miscommunication hits you, and it's not easy to over communicate. So it's good to be an inclusive and a positive communicator, especially through multiple cultures, multiple backgrounds, and virtually as well.
Yeah. There's a website, Effective Virtual Conversations. You could check that out. I had her on the podcast, and she actually sent me her book. I'm trying to remember her name, but she has a book called Effective Virtual Conversations. It's really great stuff. Yeah, and potentialrealize.com. Like, check out those things. Her name is Jennifer J. Britton. She's in Canada. Really amazing stuff. That's helping me a lot with my virtual conversations. In my accountability groups, because it's really fascinating, right? When you have multiple cultures, different ages, people from different places of the world. Wow, you definitely need to be on cue. Do you use Zoom for your meetings where you're seeing now?
Yeah, but if I can, I prefer video meetings over audio, and I prefer in person over video.
Yeah.
So our meetings are like 90% of them are video calls.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, tell me one other thing that you've done, please, consistently over the last 3 years.
One other thing, always getting to the bottom of my motivations by asking the why question until I arrive at the bottom of it. So I strive for, in all things I do, I try to find the one thing that really drives me, like connected to my core value. And I try to find the bigger reason. I eliminate things in my life that I do just for the sake of doing it, or because I believe it's somehow expected. And instead, I try to do only things that really are meaningful in some form of way, and connect me to that.
How does that make you feel?
It makes you proud when you accomplish something, and it gives you the feeling that you're aligned with your values, and gives you a Northern Star. So it makes decisions easier. It's clearer to you what routes to take when a decision opportunity presents itself.
What caused Dirk to decide to be so specific with the reason why he does what he does?
Well, I just discovered that I feel personally much healthier, better, and my time better spent if I do it in alignment with what I really believe in and what my values say. And that requires some getting to know yourself a little bit deeper, and that's actually the whole point. If you feel you have a choice, thinking through that choice and asking for the bigger reason to do X, Y, Z connects you with what really is important for you. And whenever you do something that's not connected to your values, it's probably like it's like overspending your money. If you if you spend more than you have, then your account gets out of your well. Then you're basically getting into debt, and if you're getting into debt, you're getting into trouble. And the same concept applies to the decisions and your value system. With every decision that's against your values, you're feeling worse. And if you spend some time thinking about it, and you take decisions based on your value system and based on the bigger cause behind things, then it has an energy positive effect on you.
Yeah, love that. Ooh, amazing audience. Trust me, this conversation could go for 12 by 12 minutes easily. Trust me, I'm sure of it. Dirk, where's the best place for people to connect with you? Even the podcast.
The podcast is a good start. That's called To Debate, to the number and debate. .eu or .net. You find me on both. Twitter is actually the channel I'm most communicating on. So Dirk Primbs, also a very good channel to reach out to me.
Sweet.
But I'm really easy to find. My name is pretty unique. So if you type in my name, there's only one Dirk Primbs as far as I know.
Sweet. And Dirk Primbs is DIRK and Primbs being PRIMBS. It's like prime ribs.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful warm blue Caribbean water. Dude, what is your earliest childhood memory?
It's me playing in the snow. I created a mountain, and I had a little dwarf factory in that mountain, and I was playing with the dwarfs were building things, and that's what I was playing with my little invisible friends there.
Intriguing. How old do you think you were?
Well, maybe 4, something like that. Yeah, 3, 4, I guess.
And why do you think this memory is so clear?
Well, because it derails a little bit. At some point, I thought it's a good idea to get rid of my part of my clothes. So I get really, really cold out there, and was actually painfully freezing cold when I fell into that snow thing of mine. So this is a memory that it derailed a little bit at some point, and that made the whole memory all the more vivid in the end.
Intriguing. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Please go ahead.
I love the idea of you creating what is metaphorically the virtual space where you had dwarfs as workers, team members, if you would, working alongside you to establish something. And it is intriguing to me that you are the individual that is leading teams, or leading a team that you spoke about, that comprises of a virtual team. Something like dwarfs, if you would. It's like the unseen, right? But yet the seen. It's just intriguing to see your imagination back then put things together, and to see what you're doing now, as well with the warning, as it's so necessary, just like you spoke of, to ensure that the decisions you're making are important for your protection, that you be safe, so that then you can help others.
Thank you. I tried to think through that picture, but it's interesting idea that that I created a team that created that mountain city that played around in my fantasies there. I definitely had a lot of invisible friends to play with at that time.
Yeah, pretty amazing. You still have invisible friends, right? But then it's like they're there, right? But it's really, they're not there, right? The virtual space is fascinating.
The beautiful thing is now it's not just my mind answering.
Yeah, it's more fun when it's other people.
Definitely.
But Dirk, if we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I don't remember, honestly. I tried to think of it, but no,
cool.
I'm not very musical, actually, so I don't memorize songs. I just listen to whatever plays at a given time, and that always has been the case.
Yeah, it's okay. You're not the first, and I'm sure you're not going to be the last person that says that.
What's your favorite song when you were 12?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a song by a woman called Helen Baylor, and the song says, "Can you reach my friend?"
Oh, yeah, it's a very nice title.
Yeah. Amazing how it connects, right? Well, I had the reflection work of so many conversations on my earliest childhood memory, as well as that song. So it's really fascinating how it connects. All right, Dirk. Well, my friend, we have arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Dirk?
Sure.
Dirk, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I hope that my children pick up a thing or two about what I'm doing.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
All right. How many children do you have? It's 2, right? You said 2 earlier on, yeah?
No, it's 3.
Oh, yeah,
3
you
boys.
said 3 because I said I wouldn't coach you on your 3 with my 2. Right. Do you believe in God?
No.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yeah, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, I don't have a TV.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no TV. And what about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
More than 8. I earn my living through screen time.
Dirk, after 1001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with a workbook. The name of it is called Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. The idea is you answer questions similar to these to help you through self-discovery connect with your own unique real statement, your mission, if you would. If you, Dirk, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Dirk Primbs, what would you say that is?
Keep daring would be a statement.
Love it. Keep daring. Dirk, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Thank you for inviting me over and making me part of your amazing podcast projects. I will certainly follow your podcast from now on more closely. And it's a shame that I don't get to connect with your amazing podcast audience to its full extent, but hope that some of them reach out and dare to check in through maybe Twitter or my podcast or whatever way they find.
Yeah, sounds like fun. Dirk, this was a great pleasure. Dirk Primbs, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.